Imagine a queen lying in a coffin, not dead but alive. She is not a prisoner. She is not preparing for death. She is sending a message. Why? Would a ruler choose to rest inside a coffin while still breathing? What kind of queen uses symbols of death to show power over life? Today, we uncover one of the strangest royal acts in history, a bold performance, a chilling ritual, and a queen whose power was written not just in laws or battles, but in shadows and silence. In this video, you will discover the secrets behind a royal ritual that stunned her court. You will learn why this queen believed that lying in a coffin could silence her critics, terrify her rivals, and seal her control over the throne. We will explore the politics, the superstition, and the deep meaning behind this rare act of royal theater. And by the end of this video, you will never look at power or a coffin the same way. Again, welcome to History Screen, where the past always has a twist. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss the untold stories that shaped the world. The queen at the center of our story is Queen Christina of Sweden. Born in 1626, she ruled during one of the most unstable periods in European history. Her father, King Gustavus Adolphus, died in battle when she was just 6 years old. From that moment, Christina was groomed not just to rule but to survive. 17th century was a time when kings and queens had to prove their strength constantly. Armies marched across borders, courts were filled with spies, religious wars tore Europe apart. In such a world, power could not just be claimed, it had to be performed. Christina was not an ordinary queen. She rejected marriage. She wore men's clothing. She studied philosophy, politics, and science, and she believed that true power was not in swords or titles, but in how you carried yourself. In her court appearances meant everything. Every gesture, every word, every silence held political meaning. Monarchs were expected to be more than rulers. They were symbols, living icons of their nation's will. And Christina knew that to keep the crown, she had to constantly prove she was in control over herself, over her body, over life and death. This is the world she ruled, a world where strength had to be shown in strange, dramatic ways. And in that world, one of her most chilling acts would come to define her legacy. One night, deep inside her palace, Queen Christina of Sweden had a coffin brought to her chamber, not for a funeral, not for a guest, but for herself. She ordered the court attendants to leave. Then quietly she slipped into the coffin and lay there in silence, awake, eyes open, resting, as if she were already dead. This act was never officially announced. It was whispered, written in letters, recalled in memoirs. Foreign envoys wrote home about Christina's strange habits. Some believed it was a meditation on mortality. Others thought it was a test to see if she could control her fear. And many believed it was a performance carefully crafted to send a message. The coffin was not just wood, it was a stage, a place where Christina could show that she feared nothing, not pain, not judgment, not even death. Sources differ on how often she repeated the ritual. Some say she did it only once, others claim it became a secret routine. But what they agree on is this: she told no one in advance. Those who found out were left stunned, confused, and a little afraid. In a time when rulers used every gesture to prove dominance, sleeping in the coffin was her way of showing she ruled even the dark. It made her unforgettable, untouchable, and to some terrifying. This was not madness. It was a message. Why would a queen sleep in a coffin for Christina of Sweden? It was not a strange habit. It was a message, a statement, a calculated performance of power. In the 1600s, death was everywhere. Plague, war, political executions. Monarchs died young, and fear ruled most courts. But Christina wanted to show that she was above fear, above weakness, above superstition by lying. In a coffin, she sent a silent message: even death cannot intimidate me. It was a direct challenge to the expectations of her time. Women were supposed to be soft, emotional, and spiritual, but Christina chose the coffin, the ultimate symbol of death, as her resting place. Not a throne, not a bed. To her, the coffin meant control. She was not waiting for death. She was mastering it. This act also connected her to a wider tradition of royal symbolism. Other monarchs staged their own funerals while still alive. They lay in state to remind subjects of their divine right. They walked through mock burials to show humility before God, but Christina took it further. She did not need an audience. Her ritual was private, mysterious, and that mystery gave it power. By embracing what most feared, she reshaped her image not as a queen who ruled by birth, but as one who ruled through courage, intellect, and defiance. The coffin was not a prison. It was her declaration of dominance. When whispers spread through the palace that Queen Christina had slept in a coffin, the court was stunned. Her ministers did not know what to make of it. Some were disturbed. They feared it meant she was unstable, perhaps even dangerous. Others saw it as a warning. If she could lie in a coffin without fear, what else was she capable of? Christina was already known for her eccentric choices. She wore men's clothing. She studied philosophy and theology. She refused to marry, but this coffin ritual went further. It unsettled the nobles who were used to masks and formalities, not raw personal defiance. In private letters, ambassadors called her strange and unpredictable. One wrote, "She walks in the land of the living, as though she belongs to the dead, yet beneath the concern was also awe." Even her critics admitted she had presence, charisma, and unmatched willpower. Among the public, reactions were mixed. In taverns and markets, the story became legend. Some believed it showed deep wisdom. Others saw it as scandalous and unholy. In a deeply religious age, the idea of sleeping in a coffin without a priest present was seen by some as a challenge to the church itself. But one thing was clear: Christina had made sure no one forgot her. Her actions confused the court, shocked the public, and forced everyone to talk about her on her own terms. Queen Christina's coffin ritual was not just a dramatic gesture. It was a political move at a time when her rule was questioned, especially as a woman without a husband or heir. Christina needed to project something more powerful than tradition. She chose fearlessness. The act of sleeping in a coffin signaled to allies and rivals alike that she would not be shaken by threats, whether political, personal, or spiritual. Her court may have whispered, but foreign envoys took notice. Diplomats who once viewed her as fragile began reporting on her strange strength. Some speculated the act was a warning to those plotting against her. Others believed it was a symbol of rebirth, hinting at reforms or a new phase in her reign. Either way it worked, few dared to publicly oppose her after that. In Sweden's royal history, Christina's coffin moment became legend. Though many records of the event are mixed, some letters, some memoirs, some myths, the story survived. Artists painted her surrounded by death symbols. Writers portrayed her as the queen who mocked mortality later. Rulers studied her image not just for policy, but for performance. She had mastered the theater of monarchy. She understood how to make a gesture echo beyond her lifetime. Her coffin was not just a box. It was a message carved in memory. And that memory lasted long after she stepped off the throne. Today, the story of a queen sleeping in a coffin feels like something out of a Gothic novel. But what does it really mean? Historians and cultural critics continue to debate the true purpose behind such an eerie act. Some view it as pure political theater, just like modern leaders stage photo opportunities or dramatic speeches. Queen Christina may have used the coffin as a carefully planned symbol, a way to seize the public's imagination. In this sense, it was not madness. It was media strategy centuries before modern public relations. Others see traces of spiritual ritual. In many ancient cultures, lying in a coffin or symbolically dying was a way to be reborn. It marked transformation. Perhaps Christina was declaring a new chapter in her reign or distancing herself from her enemies by stepping into the unknown and returning stronger. And then there are those who label it pagan showmanship, a strange, dark display meant to shock the court and shake off the weight of religious expectations. Christina was known to challenge the church and defy traditional roles. The coffin may have been a bold rejection of fear, heaven, and hell alike. In the end, what she did still captures attention today. Modern leaders wear suits and stage smiles. Christina climbed into a coffin. It makes used to ask, what makes a leader powerful? Is it policy or performance? Power is not just about armies or wealth. It is also about image. That has always been true from ancient empires to today's world leaders. The story of the queen who slept in a coffin reminds us that symbols can be just as powerful as swords back Then a royal figure had to appear fearless, wise, and untouchable. But how do you show that to an entire court or an anxious nation? For Queen Christina, the answer was dramatic. By stepping into a coffin, she gave a message without saying a word. "I do not fear death, I control it." This kind of ritual was more than a performance. It was a tool, just like wearing a crown, walking in a parade, or delivering a royal speech. Each action was part of shaping a public image that others would follow. Or even today, leaders still use ritual and image. A president might visit a disaster site wearing rolled-up sleeves. A prime minister might kneel at a memorial. These moments are carefully planned. They send messages, just like Christina's coffin. Power of ritual has not faded. It has simply changed shape. That is why this story matters. It reminds us that symbols, no matter how strange or shocking, still hold power. And it makes us look closer at the images we see every day, from royal ceremonies to political campaigns. Behind each one is a message. And sometimes behind the message is a coffin. The story of the queen who slept in a coffin is more than just a strange tale. It is a glimpse into how power was performed through bold actions, dramatic symbols, and calculated silence. In a world where rulers had to command respect, every gesture mattered. And sometimes the most shocking acts left the deepest mark. Sleeping in a coffin was not about death. It was about control, about courage, about sending a message that echoed through the marble halls of the court. And through history now, here is a question for you. Would you do something shocking to prove your power? Would you face fear head-on just to show the world who you are? Stories like these remind us that the line between ritual and reality, image and influence, is often thinner than we think. You for joining us on this journey through royal mystery and symbolism. If you found this story fascinating, do not forget to like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to History Screen for more hidden tales from the past. Until next time, stay curious and stay powerful.